Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. I'm gonna give y'all some time to tune in. Apologies for the pushback. Was trying to do this earlier this afternoon, but it's been a long one. Nonetheless, a blessed one. And for those who are blessed, again, give your thanks to the Creator. First things first, you already know. Hopefully, everybody having a blessed and productive Wednesday. Hopefully, everybody smoothly got through the work day. Hopefully, your kids got through the school day. For those celebrating birthdays this week, hopefully, you enjoy whatever plans you got. You already know what it is. Keep creating memories. You already know what it is. Enjoy every moment of life. Appreciate everybody that tuned in Sunday for the get down. I did say I was gonna have this conversation. Angela, baby, I did say I was gonna have this conversation. Uh, I do plan on having this conversation. But for those that missed the enjoyment, you already know you catch the replay. Um, Shout out to everybody that tuned in for the vibes and the music. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm gonna tackle one or two things. I'm probably not gonna be all here crazy tonight. I do plan on doing something again tomorrow as well. So for those that are tuned in, you already know what it is. I want to talk about something that is very alarming, at least to me. It's only because I looked at a demographic. And, it's alarming, but it's also surprising. Reason why I say it's alarming because it's amazing how they always try to give us what they want to give us, basically. They'll try to feed us an ideology on certain things, but then we really don't take things for what it is. But it's also surprising because I could have kind of figured that to a degree. Some things or mediate just not always going to be able to believe, or you're not going to always be able to get volatile and emotional and upset about. Why? Because again, it's feeding that narrative, you know. So I was looking at this poll, and apparently, well, I'm gonna say up until near the time we had the COVID situation, violent crimes wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I'm gonna say a little after 1990 to be exact. Violent crimes wasn't as high as I thought it was. You know what it is because when you hear the news, the majority of the time you think you're gonna hear something positive. You always do end up hearing the negative aspects of things. You know, it's not saying that crimes aren't happening. It's a crime happening every day. But as far as violent crimes, I'm gonna say up until 2020, the numbers was actually dropping. At least in certain communities, the numbers was dropping. The reason why I know the numbers was dropping was because most of the crimes you heard about, it wasn't no real violence. Nobody got harmed. Um, Nobody lost a life. Nobody was physically scarred or damaged. So, it was just the mindset of basic tactics of the mind. Let's create this tactic and let's create this mindset. Because just like I said before, there's a lot of things that are going on in a positive aspect, and yet still they cover what they want to cover as far as the positive, which is a sad thing because again, it's supposed to be showing all aspects if you're going to be doing broadcasting, right? Got to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. And a lot of times we've seen the ugly. We've seen the ugly when it came down to police brutality, injustice, racism. Hey, we've seen it. And when you're constantly broadcasting the same type of narrative, at some point, it does, it does spam and stay in the minds of those who honestly, I believe, are trying to already escape something. See, for some, they'll be scared to go out because of what's going on or what's being broadcasted. Bro, what's going on, my guy? Like prime example, there are some people who felt the type of way because of the way things have always been broadcasted and demonstrated. Now, yes, there is violence in the world. Yes, there is crime in the world. Almost every second, there's probably a different type of crime that's about to happen. But for the most part, you get the same things that you've been getting. You might get an assault here and there, and I'm not condoning none of that because honestly, I feel we should all be able to rest within one space without coming to blows. But to be quite honest, we know that's not possible because of the scenarios that are in place. See, now robbery is a crime, no matter how you look at it. No matter how you try to justify it, it's a crime. But at the same token, a violent crime is even worse. A violent robbery is even worse. A violent robbery is worse because now if that's on your record, in certain instances, you're not going to get that shot that you're looking for, especially if you are trying to redeem yourself. Some people might be fearful. With some people, their mindset is already you can't reform people. Jared, what's going on? I feel there are certain scenarios where people can be reformed, but it's also squarely up to the person at end. That part you can't negate. See, to be honest with you, again, the violent crimes from that demographic, it said a lot. It says that we don't know as much as we think we do. Because violent crimes usually end up in, like I said, some form of unaliving or near life and death experience. Violent crimes. Those things went down. Now, yes, there was a spike to a degree again. But you expect that when there are certain things happening, um, especially if they're the world was shut down basically at that time frame. So you had to expect crime of all kinds to spike up some. Because think about it, most people were either home or they were trying to get what they was trying to get prepared for, whatever. And again, for some, they really ain't have no next option. Robberies is at a high. Domestic violence was at a high. Those numbers was at a high. Lucy, what's going on? What's going on? I already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. See again, and that notion right there, those numbers was still kind of low before the rise up. You still hear about senseless violence to a degree as far as senseless shootings. Now that's something that nobody can prepare for. But when the community does come together and strengthen the numbers and doesn't allow certain things to continue, then some of your areas will be even safer than before. No type of crime, honestly, should be a violent crime. Nobody shouldn't have to worry about getting pistol whipped, shot at, shot, maimed, none of that. Definitely should not be chased at all. James, what's going on, my guy? I think that's a problem right there. That in the mindset, that's how some people feel. I gotta, I gotta make you look weak just to feel strong. Now, again, violent crimes was at a low. You can't say that every day you was hearing something about women being hurt, men being hurt, even elderly being hurt. See, violent crime is not just what happens to the adults. Violent crime can happen to a child. A violent crime can happen to an elder. Either which way, you know, it was a menace. Shit, what's going on? The good thing though, the numbers was low because again, those communities stood firm on certain things. You know, no harm should come towards women, children, elders. Period. Those bases is what basically are keeping certain areas under wraps. I mean, just look at it. I mean, yeah, you still going to get your occasional crimes here and there. The world is not perfect. You know, you're going to have some people who are out there who are doing certain things because they feel they have no other options. But little do they know, they actually do have better options. They just not seeing the vision clearly. And seeing that's the thing again. Sometimes you have to have a clear mindset. And those people had clear mindsets to know, you know, there are certain crimes that We're just not going to tolerate, especially if it's diminishing or damaging the people within. Mo, baby. But I think it's important, though, to keep strengthening that mindset, to keep those violent crimes at its low peaks. The reason why I say that is because there are some things that might take place at some point. And the goal is, again, to try to keep our own safe, try to keep our own areas under lock and under watch. Sickle, what's going on, my guy? Simple good, Mo. Getting on my nerves as always, but he good. Hope all well with you though, sis. You know, like I said, that mindset was pretty good. That mindset was pretty good because it did keep, did keep everything under wraps. The things that we know we needed and we need to strive in. Hey, we stood together firmly. We let it be known that there were just some things we were not going to be able to allow, no matter what the cost. You know, juice, baby. Now, again, that demographic poll, it threw me off. It really did. Because again, it goes to show we was being lied to basically the whole time. Yeah, we've been getting fed nothing but negative things and negative aspects throughout all communities, right? And when they do try to quote unquote give us something positive to look at, for some people, it's not that positive because these are things that was already going on. I'm not gonna lie to you. We need to see more of that. But then again, for some, you ain't gotta look at no news. Just go outside and look within your communities and your areas. Yes, you're gonna have certain scenarios where you're gonna have fights, arguments, and disagreements. But a lot of those arguments and disagreements don't lead to what we call violent crimes. Some people who are arguing are not quick to want to shoot each other or stab each other. Now, in certain scenarios, if you're arguing with somebody who could be suffering from some form of mental illness, then guess what? That's when you probably are going to have to take precaution on certain scenarios. You have to. Because, yes, you are supposed to protect yourself at all costs. But in the same token, it shouldn't cost somebody their life neither. Not gonna lie though, to see that chart really spiked down as far as violent crimes from the 1990s up until just recently, that goes to show that look, we could all come together and build something strong and useful. What's building strong and useful tactics? I'll tell you what. Again, being useful, being an active eye. You know what? The reason why the violent crimes did spike down as far as throughout the states was because of that. Most communities was just getting fed up. Couldn't go outside as much because every time you turned around, there was something going on. There was a senseless shooting or something along those lines. But when the communities came together, stood strong, held their ground, and just continued to do the work, you seen that the violent crimes did go down, which is a good thing. You want to try to keep that as low as possible. When the violent crimes start going back up, I feel within my gut that at some point and especially with the order that we in right now, um, things could make a sudden change, and that change is something that you might not be prepared for. So they try to go with that. We are the ones that are crying and begging for protection. To a degree, we are. But it's not to say that we always need those blue and whites to help out. In some instances, we could be our own damn police, like I said before. We know there's certain scenarios that shouldn't be happening, shut it down. That's just like prime example. You know, you in an area where it could be heavily drug infested. In certain scenarios, you gotta try to put your foot down on certain shit. It's important. And this is one reason why in some areas, again, people are not striving the way they should be striving because some of these areas are polluted. East Dad, what's going on, my guy? No doubt, Juice. Appreciate you, baby. Again, when you set your mind to making change, that is the most important thing. You're doing what's necessary and you're doing what you feel is going to be, you know, a stronghold. You push out the things that you know for a fact is affecting the community. And you stand on all aspects and cylinders the way you're supposed to. Like I said, for some, if you want better, you got to be a part of the change. You got to be willing to make the necessary steps. And you got to fight for what you really believe in. Stoic, what's going on, man? And that's the thing. See, life is so precious. Life is also, an experience. Experience in making your marks and things. It's important. Making the important strides in your life and doing it the right way. Not tossing away the most important fabrics, but just maintaining what you can. Fabric of society is, you have the right set of people who are willing to stand their ground and protect their interests. Some people, their interest is trying to have a safer community. Because in some communities, yes, there are still violent crimes happening. And some of those instances, yes, innocents are losing lives or innocents are being in the midst of the crossfire. But again, you know, it's not like there's consistent gunfire happening every minute of the day. No, because there are some scenarios where, again, even if there's a confrontation, it might lead to some violence, but it's not going to lead to, a violent crime happening. It's not going to lead to somebody losing their life, not unless it really unfolds the worst way. You know, this is the thing. To reach that better point of society being a little bit better, or your communities being a little bit better, again, just keep that aspect of fighting and pushing out all the negatives. When you realize that all the negatives, you know, are outweighing everything, it's time for you to be on a positive step and make it more even. Because again, you know, there's always going to be some form of evil. There's always going to be some form of ill presence that keeps things under wraps. But it's only so much you can do. But the most important thing again is just keeping, you know, keeping the safety aspect in lock. That's all. It's open. Give me 1 second, y'all. The most important. It's not locked. No, it's not locked. Give me 1 second. 1 second. To be honest, it's about trying to make everything safe. You know. Mhm. My bad, y'all. But it's about keeping everything in order. Making things safe again. You know, trying to do the best you can for the future generations. You know, we're not perfect, but we can make things great. You know, it's all about what we actually are fighting for. In some scenarios, some people want violence to cease altogether, but we know it's not going to happen. Like I said, every time you turn around, there will be some form of crime being committed. The worst crime is committing the crime where you're taking away something from somebody they can't get back. You know, again, violent crimes, they're not happening as much as we think they are. You just got to look out. A lot of people, like I said, go outside and you sit in your communities throughout the day, you'll see, yeah, might get one or two scenarios where you're going to hear silence. But other than that, you mostly got to worry about the day-to-day struggles, making sure your playgrounds are safe for the kids to play, making sure there is certain things that you can implement, especially if there is nothing for them to do. See, like right now, if violent crimes are spiking in certain scenarios, it's only because it's a younger portion of the people who are committing the crimes. But not gonna lie, some of that lies within the generation before that because there are certain things that were not needed to be done, but apparently it made its way out there. You know, see again, prime example. Some people are committing crimes on social media when it's not needed. And then when something does happen, they're quick to want to say, "Oh, somebody is snitching or somebody is doing this." No, you're snitching on yourself when you're doing certain things that you don't need to do, and especially when again these people are watching. You know, appreciate you for dropping those links, James. When you get up in the morning and you go out, what do you really see? Yeah, you gonna see the everyday hustle and bustle of people. People who are either going to work, coming from work. Some people are doing their own thing. See, prime example, I'm gonna say in certain instances, don't necessarily have to follow every road that you see. You follow a road that's good for you. You follow your path in life. If you are striving to be something great, then you got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to do what's necessary, and you have to build yourself up on a confidence level. You can't get nowhere in life if you're not confident in yourself and if you ain't focused enough. Some are trying to be that next big thing. But again, if you want to strive to be the next big thing, there's some things you have to remember. One thing is, again, having confidence in yourself, having confidence in your abilities to build and create. You got to build yourself a strong structure within. The weights of the world sometimes will be on your shoulders, but you also got to remember you can't carry all that weight. You got to let it go. You know, you have to let go of the things that are not in your control, but you also have to push yourself for greater, no matter what the world is throwing at you. You can't allow yourself to be thrown off mentally nor spiritually. Some people will say that, oh, I don't have nothing to fight for, I don't have nothing to live for. But that's a blatant lie right there. Because if you did, if your time was done, that holy creator would have already taken you home by then. So for those who feel like there's nothing to fight for, you have to make something worth it. If you have goals that you didn't accomplish, try to accomplish them. Take the necessary steps to accomplishing them. Stoic, I'm good, bro. You know, like I said, it's not about money, man. Not about no monetizing. It's just about speaking some real shit, at least on my behalf. You know, something that the world needs to hear, though. You know, we are not in a crazy state like we think we are. You know, there are some things that, yes, we are lacking. There are some things that have been taken away and stripped away, but we could rebuild and even make it better if we all just stand together. Susanna, baby. Didi, baby. I think that's the most important thing to remember, though. You know, we still here for a reason. You know, for some of us, we got people who didn't get a chance to make it, and we trying to not so much as just carry the torch for them, but we got to keep moving forward regardless. We got to keep trying to make excellent strides in our lives, you know, for the betterment. Leaving a legacy, basically. Leaving some form of blueprint. It's important. Nah, that's a whole fact. You know, that's what I'm saying. There's some people who, you know, and that's the thing. Some people are driven by money, which again, you know, it's good to have. It's not the most important, but it's good to have. It's good to have because yes, you have to pay bills. Yes, you have to purchase certain things that you need, life necessities, etc., etc. But it's not the begin all and end all. There's some people right now who manage their money even with what little that they get. It's again about remembering what's important. That's what I'm saying. It's just, you have to remember this. There's times when you want to give up. There's times when you feel like you ain't going to accomplish nothing, or you feel like you're not going to accomplish nothing. But how would you know if you end up quitting on yourself before time? See, again, that's that trick of the mind. Making a person feel like they can't do something. Or some people just get triggered and start feeling that way. You got to remember that sometimes we're going to be triggered by certain things in life, but we don't let those triggers outweigh everything that we're doing positive. Like, prime example, if you're small business, you are into the notion of making different types of brands of clothes, different varieties, you know, you continue to keep pushing forward. You keep striking the ideas in your mind. It's important to do so. Sometimes you feel like you're going to crash out because things might not be going the way you think it should go, but you don't crash out. You take the necessary steps in your life to keep moving forward, no matter how hard the road gets. We all going to have to eventually, at some point, make a little pit stop, tune up, rest up, and then we come back. You know, you don't allow the weight of the world to demolish your mind. Easier said than done, I can understand, because everybody's different. Everybody has different situations. But I would say for those who are on the path to greatness, even if they're in a small space right now, continue to grow and continue to learn and continue to elevate yourself. When you learn to do so, trust me, it feels better. You'll achieve more. If educating yourself is the most important thing, then you continue to educate yourself. You read those books, but you also educate yourself in life. You need life experience, remember? Some things we got to be able to balance and balance it correctly. There's some days you might not feel like doing nothing. A lot of times that's just your mind telling you that. That's your mind telling you don't even work hard today. Don't push yourself. That negative aspect you gotta clear out your mind. Every day that you blessed to wake up, you should at least try to implement something. Try to live your best life. Try to accomplish whatever goals you might have had set. Don't chase dreams. Chase reality. The reality is, for some of y'all, you have a lot of time left to get things in order. And while you do, you should want to, again, accomplish those things. Make yourself feel better. When you look at what you've gotten from point A to point B and see that everything is where it's supposed to be at, you'll feel a little happier. You'll feel more accomplished. Like I said, even if you got to start from somewhere small, better to start somewhere than to be nowhere at all. You know, I think in some scenarios that would actually was the reason why, at least in my opinion, why some of the violent crimes in the communities went down, because everybody found something to do that was legit, but it also helped out. I don't have to scheme on my brother or sister, or I don't have to harm my brother or sister to gain something when I could take my time and my efforts and gain it on my own. Letitia, baby. No, I mean that's the thing. You're not supposed to chase dreams for real though. Stoic, you're not. Shit, I dreamed to be tall. I didn't fucking chase that shit too long. Cause I knew where I was gonna be at. There's some things in life you can't chase. So again, you need to chase reality. You gotta understand that. You know, not everything is gonna move the way you want it to move. Key word: the way you want it to move, it's not always gonna work. The things you need to do and you need to be committed on doing, it's the most important thing. When you got great support all around the board, it feels good. Not gonna lie, it does. For those who aren't fortunate enough to have that, the only thing I can tell you, the only thing I can say is that you have to fill that void, you know? And how are you going to fill that void? You still got to remember, you might not have an abundance of support, but if you do have people who are still rooting for you in the best light, you take that for what it is on all levels. Appreciate that, Stoic. Now, I mean, but it's true though. You are really just trying to figure out your best course in life. Carve your life out the best way possible. While you carving, hey, sometimes you might have a little mishap, but practice makes perfect. You never know what could be done if you give up on yourself. And some people are not going to get to where they need to right away in life. There's some young people who are not in the best of positions, just like there's some older folks who are not in the best positions. But that don't mean they can't get themselves there. You gotta have that mindset and that logic to say no matter what the world is giving me, I'm gonna give it right back. Word, what's going on, my guy? Nah, because it's the truth though. Some people are chasing dreams. And in that same token, some people are throwing countless minutes away or countless time away or even throwing away people that they shouldn't throw away. You shouldn't have to toss everybody to the side for goals that you should have already tried to take care of or goals that you can still maneuver around. There's some people, prime example, they planned on doing certain things. They might have had a family, might have thought that it stopped their goals and their dreams, but it didn't. They found ways to work around it. Serious, baby. Dave, what's going on, my guy? Been a minute. Hope all well, my guy. But there's no need for you to toss important things to the side, for minor goals. Like I said, some people want to be the next big thing, but are you willing to sacrifice your family and your living to do so? I feel in certain things there should be no sacrificing unless you are willing to sacrifice. And I don't mean sacrifice your family or sacrifice your goals overall. No, Sometimes you just gonna have to put the extra work in, the extra effort in. The things that you thought might have been over with could still be explored. There's some people who felt like they was too old to go to school, prime example, and even get the simplest thing like the GED. But then again, there are people who are well in their 70s, 80s who are just now getting a piece of paper. Some of them was in war, so they couldn't finish school, so on and so forth. It's about pushing yourself at the end of the day. It's about giving yourself the best option, the best motivation to get into your next phases in life. In all honesty, again, the things that you can't control, you know, don't overstress yourself and don't overwhelm yourself. People think that they can't make changes in their life. You can make all the changes in your life. Again, you have to do it. You can get all the support, prime example. But what's support if you're not supporting yourself? What's support if you're not believing and uplifting yourself? When people try to tell you you can't, you tell yourself that you're going to do it. You tell yourself that you can make it. Even when you having some form of self-doubt in your mind, you got to even tell yourself, man, listen, you can do this shit. Got to be tough and strong regardless to what. There's times the world has threw me nothing but rocks and boulders, and I punch through them shits because, again, it's life. You can't control certain things, but you can make the best upgrades and the best changes in your life if you feel that's what you need. The best motivator is yourself sometimes. Again, you're blessed to wake up every morning. That should mean something. See, the sun is just another day. For others, it means a whole lot because, again, you could have been the one not being here this day, which means you still have time to move the goalpost in life. What do you see for yourself? And that's something that some people should ask themselves. What do you see for yourself? What do you envision yourself doing? How do you plan on going to those stages and those phases? Whether you have multiple abundance of support or you have barely none support, you're supposed to support yourself regardless. But you have to have a peace of mind. The things that might trigger you, you got to get away from those triggers. Again, for some people that are chasing dreams, you better start chasing reality. And I'm not saying that dreams aren't inspiring to some. Some people dream on becoming world class, basically. Some people actually live out what they strive for. I can have a dream about creating something that could be a dynasty. Keyword, those dreams. Can't always chase those dreams if I'm not making it a reality. Again, it's important to try to uplift yourself in the best way possible. But how you gonna uplift yourself? Got to give yourself that pep talk for real. When you look in that mirror, what do you see? What do you envision? What can you see yourself doing different if you have to do something different? How am I going to keep myself mentally balanced, mentally capable and strong in making decisions? Am I going to let my emotions get the best of my decisions? Those is things you have to ask yourself. If I know my next stages is to create a business, like I said, I would have to go through all the necessary steps in learning. Got to learn about the financial part of business. Got to also learn about the market part of business, marketing ability. Important things to worry about. Making sure that the brand stays as legit as it's supposed to stay. Making sure that the brand is also creating and expanding. These are things you got to think about. Hold on, Stoic. What's going on? What's going on, man?
Hey, what up, cuz?
What's going on, bro?
Hey, not too much. I'm just on my lunch break, but yeah, I wanted to jump in just quickly and just bounce off what you were saying about results,
Yeah,
chasing your dreams, right? Uh, I think for everybody, when we were growing up, we were told to chase our dreams. Uh, it can work for some people, but it don't work for majority of the people. So when you said chase reality, to me, what that means to chase reality is accountability. You know, you can't be acting in society like you know it all, right? Like you're top shit, right?
yeah,
Um, you can't because the world will put you back in your place, right? And then who you gonna hate if 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 people can't see what you vision? How do you expect them to see where you're at in life, right? And
yeah,
I think a lot of people have a hard time dealing with this, especially where I'm from. I'm in Australia,
yeah,
and a lot of people think they're top shit, right? If you have to say you're top shit, you're not top shit. If you say you have it all, you don't have it all.
That's a fact right there. I mean, there are some things that you know when we sit there and look at it. Like I said, we got some people who will sit there and say, I'm happy, I'm this and that." But we know 9 out of 10,
Hmm.
if you're happy, you don't necessarily have to say you're happy. The world will
Hmm.
see you when there's a glow and things along those natures. When again, you don't have to say
Hmm.
much of anything. But where I
Hmm.
was going at
Hmm.
as far as chasing reality, I was talking about for some who have dreams that they know for a fact just it ain't gonna ever really take place no matter how hard they try. Like for some people,
Hmm.
if you know for a fact music ain't working for you, uh,
Hmm.
try to find something else. It's not saying
That's
that you
right.
can't do that as a hobby, hustle, whatever. Or that's not saying that you can't do that within your spare time. But if you know that's
That's
not
right.
cutting it, it's not paying the bills right now, you ain't getting to where you need to get to, you gotta chase reality. You have to do something.
And that's yeah, and that's figuring out yourself too. You can't be 5'5" and have a dream of being a basketballer. What you mean, right?
Good.
Uh, Everyone got something to share. I don't care who you are. You have something to share, right? And that's the
Yeah.
best part of the internet. It brings people together. But before the action, it has to be the thought.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, prime example here. Yeah. See on here, and that's just any platform. You're supposed to be free to come here, unite, and basically either discuss or, you know, just vibe out. But you got to be realistic too. Like, see, prime example. There's some
Mm-hmm.
people who want to be internet gods or they want to be the next big thing, like I've been saying. But some people, it's not going to happen.
It ain't.
And if it doesn't happen, hey, it's not saying that it's the end of the world, or it's not saying that this is what you all should be looking forward to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
get back into the skills again that you need right now, because if certain things was to happen, like prime example for some of these platforms, if they was to just shut down altogether, for those who are
Mm-hmm.
just stuck with that, what you got else? What else you got to lean on? Are you going to create your own? Like, are you going to create your own, space, or
Mm-hmm.
are you going to find something else to do? And that's the question
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be asked, because in some scenarios, some people probably wouldn't know what to do if this thing was to crash, because this is all
Mm-hmm.
they know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there's other ways to build. It's not just social media. You know,
It
just gotta
isn't. It
want to build.
isn't. It isn't. And yeah, let me bounce off you as well. Like the world isn't so good at the moment right now, right?
Yeah,
And and when you have people who are unwell mentally, spiritually, physically, they jump on the internet, right?
yeah,
They jump on the internet, and how you behave on the internet is what you're going to receive in your physical world. So you can't expect people to respect you because you think you're like this and you're supposed to receive it. Am I right?
facts. But wait, hold on. Butterflies going on. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I mean, look here. It's just about respect, all in all, when it's all said and done. You got to respect yourself and respect the people you trying to build with. You know, and just again, just keep the positive more than anything, especially if you're trying to build a brand. So
Exactly. Let me ask you, what are your goals?
my goals, pretty much, I'm already achieving them. My goal was to set myself apart from everybody, which I kind of did,
Yep.
because
Yep.
there are some people who, yeah, they are bringing things that are needed.
Hmm.
Even this right here is needed, because we all need a positive talk here and there. We all need to hear something good, something enlightening. We can't continue to just keep focusing on negative aspects of life and society. We got a lot of positive that's going on. Try to bring that
That's
out
right.
there.
That's right. Hey, what I've noticed is a lot of people have money, but a lot of people waste it on bullshit, right? So
Yeah,
my goal is to change people's mindset on how they spend their money, right?
yeah,
Uh, Spending money, it should be an investment, no matter where you spend it, right? The money you spend, if it don't contribute to something, to a greater cause, it's a waste, right? So when I said monetize your thing, and you're like, no, I respect that a lot, because too many people on the internet are asking for donation for their words of wisdom, right? That should
yeah,
be free. It should be free. But
yeah,
if you have money, if you've got money, people with the right mindset will donate. Or I don't like the word donate too. I don't like the word donate. as well. If I hear something that's great and it's and words that cause um, a betterment, what's the
Yeah.
problem of storing some money?
I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody is gonna do what they gonna do with their own money. I mean, that's one thing. You can't control what people do with their money neither. I mean, yeah, some people are gonna some people are gonna donate, or some people are definitely gonna try to be charitable to those. But then you also gotta remember too, in some scenarios, some people ain't gonna do it because when you see certain scenarios happening now, like I said, it's one thing when people are doing it because, it's
Mm,
coming from the heart.
mm,
But,
mm.
also just remember every little bit you do get is a blessing. Some people just be looking for the bigger gain of things, but every little bit counts. That's what people got to remember. Like even in life, every little bit counts.
It does.
You
It does.
support.
Yeah. I kind of want everybody who's listening. Um, a better you is a better us, right?
Yeah,
Keep your money. Keep your money, right? Um, if someone supports you in your life, in your betterment, what's wrong of storing $5 here, $10 here, right? They will
yeah,
support you. They will support you. And when looking back 2 years ago, when I was down bad, and I
yeah.
was looking at channels at bettering life, bettering your circumstances. I never had money to give. Never had money to give. But the thing that put me off is people asking for money. I shared some word of wisdom, so you should give me money. I don't like that. A lot of people are doing this on the internet, right? If you stay real, I mean, monetizing it comes to you, right? You're not thinking about money, but if people throw you cash, are you going to reject it or take it?
Nah, I get where you're going with that. Trust me, I
Yeah.
get where you're going with that. You know,
Mm.
but see, that's the thing though, and that's why I said for some people it ain't gonna be an easy cakewalk only because you do have people like that. Hold on, chill, will baby. This is what I'm saying. You donate and you support what you want to support. And that's the thing. Some people are going to support, and it don't always got to be money. That's the thing. Support come in all angles. It comes in all characteristics, all styles. If people can't, support money wise, they support it just by backing you up with whatever. That's the most important thing. Just having support, even if it's just the words of encouragement. You might be down that day. Yo, listen,
Yeah.
you doing good. You doing great. Keep striving. Keep going. That even helps.
Hmm.
Even that little small little thing that you say to somebody might help them out that day. That's support right there.
You're right.
And you didn't have to
You're
say
right.
nothing.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. My problem is how people spend their money. It ain't okay. All right. I shouldn't care how people spend their money, but if your money is not going to a good cause, why the hell are you wasting it?
Hey,
Why
that's
the
a
hell are you
question we
wasting?
all that's a question we all gotta ask at some point. But hey, um, like I said, everybody moves differently. Some people are gonna donate and be wise with what they donate to. Some people are gonna be supporting those type of things because that's something that they could get behind. You know, but I can't say much about those. Hey, if that's what
Hmm.
they decide they want to support, that's their money. But
It
some
is.
people end up
It is.
waking up and realizing. Some people do end up waking up and realizing, like, you know what? I can only support those that really are giving me something to want to support. So
Yeah, and I think that's a level of growth. Um, I can tell you right now, 2 years before, a lot of people have helped me out on the internet, but I've never really donated. And I look back, and they should have had my support through money. But
yeah,
since now, I'm not wasting my money on junk food. I'm not wasting my money on subscriptions. I ain't wasting money on bullshit, right? Right.
yeah.
I'd rather, and this goes for everybody else, not just me, but you want your money to go a long way, right? So, what? Let me ask you this: why do people support you?
The people support me because of what I've been bringing since I've been a content creator. The people support me because of just me being authentic. And that's the thing. When
Mhm.
somebody's authentic, when somebody is being useful and meaningful, and when people are
Mhm.
just, also showing that, yes, we can have a civil conversation, have fun, and,
Mhm.
nobody gets their panties in a bunch over everything. That's the most important thing. Again, this is why a lot of people do support me.
My bad.
Like I
I'm
said,
laughing.
if
I'm
this is about
laughing.
to, you know what? And hold on, to be quite honest, the reason why a lot of people support me, bro, because I keep a positive mind space and I also keep a positive space over here. Even when we go through little fake troll situations, I still keep the vibes where I need to keep it at. It's all about respect
True.
at the end of the day. I respect everybody. I got people from all angles and all sides that support me just because. I don't do no
Hundred
judging.
percent. 100%. 100%. And a words in the chat. And let me read what he just said. If you want to see what's important to people, look how they spend their money.
I mean, hey,
True. True. True.
there's truth to
True.
some of that, but you got some people who are actually, honestly, you know, don't support the way they supposed to do it, and hey, that feels good to them because they know they supporting somebody that definitely deserves it. See, that's the thing.
Mm,
When you keep doing certain things like you begging for it, then that's when everybody
mm,
starts looking. So that's why I said,
mm.
but I already made that clear. It wasn't about money nor anything else. It's just about bringing something good to the people that's needed right now.
100%.
That's what
And
we gotta continue to keep doing.
no, 100%. And this is the type of creative work I want to be in as well. Work takes much of my time, but hey, if you got words of wisdom to share, you need to share it because the world is on a downfall. Okay, and it's like people like yourself, like Word, like a lot of people, right? A lot of people don't have what 50,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah.
Like we, yeah, it's really up to us, and I believe we can change the world. Together, we can change the world.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's the thing. You can make all sorts of changes in the world, and some of them changes, the only reason why it's not being changed right now is shoot, some of it got to deal with pride and ego. Like I said, when you get past all of that, there are some things that could come back into re-existence, especially things that we've been stripped of. Like I said before, it's just about
Hmm.
wanting to do
Wanting to do it, wanting to do it. That's the question. Yeah, you're right.
it. Yeah, because you can sit here and say, I want to see another, like prime example in your community. You could say, I want to see another recreation center for the kids. I want to see another park open for a kid. Okay, but are you going to
Mm.
be behind it when it's time for it to be done? That's the question.
That's the question. You're right. Yep, yep. I have a positive attitude for the next few years coming. I
Yeah.
mean, hey, your brand. What's your brand about?
Yeah, my brand is what it is. Just speaking on these topics, just trying to bring some enlightenment to the world one way, and again, just getting people to think again. We gotta get back
Getting
in the
people.
shape of
Yep.
thinking for ourselves, man.
Hmm. You're right. You're right. You're right. Hey, Nate. Thank you so much. I gotta go back to work, but thank you so much for your words of wisdom. If I could throw you some cash, I would have. But you're not monetized. What the fuck? I got
Man,
money.
shoot.
I got money.
Man, listen. If you want to donate, the cash app is still there. But other than that, like
uh,
I said,
yeah, yeah. Thank you so
but I
much. Thank you so much.
nah, I appreciate you for popping in, and you're always more than welcome to pop in on the convo, no matter what, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll leave you at that.
No doubt, bro. You're already, man. Shout outs to Stoic for popping in. Again, it's just about again uplifting yourself in the best capacity. Some things you don't necessarily have to do just to be great. In certain scenarios, people who tear other people down feel that they're being great, but that's just causing another rift in somebody else's way of life and thinking. Gotta remember, we all start from somewhere. Start somewhere, and wherever we do decide to land at, if we know we done accomplished what we needed to, try to enjoy the fruits. But again, in some scenarios, people are not going to see that because again, with some is I gotta be above you. I gotta put you down to feel like I'm better than. You want to build yourself up to great levels. Try not tearing down the people that are coming up with you. That's another thing. This is one reason why sometimes certain things don't happen because we will be too quick to tear each other down and forget that we are on the same path of trying to do something great. Like I said before, there's some things in life that you should not allow to keep you down. When you get hurt, guess what? At some point, you're gonna heal, depending on how hurt you are. Your feelings can be hurting right now. Your feelings won't be hurting forever. You could be angry at this point, might not be angry forever. Might not be angry in the next hour. It all depends. Depends on how much you allow it. Appreciate you for dropping links, serious baby. Again, don't allow yourself to get stuck down. Don't allow the world to make you feel like you less than or you can't produce. You can always produce something, you know. But you gotta remember that though. You want to see the best, gotta produce the best. So that means what it means. Never second guess yourself. Sometimes the negativity will actually encourage and push out the greater things. There's some people who were consumed by negative and turned that negative into something positive. Again, got to structure your mind, got to structure your spirit too. Again, just try to take the best things that you do have in life and make them greater. You know, there's a lot of things that can be reformed. There's a lot of things that can be changed. Shoot, even on here, there's a lot of things that can be changed. But are the people willing to stand up for that change? When you have a better mindset and a positive mindset in life, there's nothing that could break you from getting to your next steps in life. Nothing. Even when things ain't going right away, that don't mean they not gonna go right. Yeah, you just gotta remember that part though. More than anything. It is important, again, for you to just build your structure. Now there's some people, like I said, who want to try to be the next big thing, but some of them are doing it the wrong way. And for some who are trying to build, even with knowing that they got a family, you got to be able to balance both. Life is not promised. You know, you might live forever, you might not live forever. That's one thing to remember. Tomorrow is definitely not promised. So every day you should be trying to lift and strive for something. Continue to build and grow for something. You might think you don't have enough, but you do. You're just not looking deep enough. And sometimes you got to look deep beyond the surface. Again, you got to motivate yourself. Do you really see yourself being a quitter? You know what comes if you do quit, you know? And if you quit on yourself, that means you can't blame nobody else for your downfalls. You can't blame nobody else for why you're still stuck in that rut. It's something that you have to fix. It's something that you have to continue to strive for, you know? That's why I said, instead of chasing dreams, gotta chase reality. I think the link is still pinned in case anybody else want to chime in on the convo. But I do feel again that's the most important step. Believing that things can actually transpire and transpire in the right light. You know, again, you gotta want it. When you consistently giving up or you consistently doubting yourself, you'll start believing some of that stuff. But if you're wise enough to know what you can set forward for you, then just do it. Everybody's situations again is going to be different, but it's about being mentally capable and mentally strong, and especially in your decision makings in life. You have a choice. You could push for greatness, or you could choose to quit. Some people choose to quit because they scared of failure. We all want to fail at things in life, but it's what you learn from that failure that makes you greater. It's what you do after that that's more important. You might have failed at your first small business, but that don't mean you fail a second time, especially if you already have done the work and know what it really takes. Prime example, there's some people who didn't make they first go arounds as far as if they was trying to get into sports. Some people didn't get they shine or they opportunity until later on. Some people will get to their destinations if that's what they're destined to do. But if you're not destined to do it, then there's nothing wrong with finding something else that you can. Like I was saying earlier, music might not be for you, even if you have some form of skill at it. Music could just be another doorway and a gateway to get somewhere else. As you see, prime example, there are a lot of rappers who are, and a lot of musicians who are doing what they've been doing. They're not just sitting in one space. They're consistently moving, networking, and doing what's necessary. Again, you're not going to sit in the same space forever. Because if you do, there's no form of elevation. So you just got to remember, keep your mind focused on important goals and aspects. Be willing to put in the work. You want to form your destiny, again, you're going to have to put in some form of work and effort. Create a balance of strength, harmony, and wisdom in your mind. You have to build a defense wall around your mind. When you learn to build that wall, again, none of that negative should seep in. All the negative aspects you hearing, or all the negative that you get from different cylinders, it won't be a thing no more. Because your mindset is again trying to get to your next level. Don't put your life on pause neither. You still got a great deal of work to do. Keep encouraging and keep building yourself up. Once you realize that you're doing the right things, when you realize that things are starting to move the best way, don't allow any type of triggers to put you back in that corner. In order to find some form of peace of mind, just got to get away from the triggers. If you're trying to build your own, or if you're trying to create your own and do your own, you got to start saving and building at that juncture right there. No doubt. Have a good night, Angela, baby. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You know what it is, chill. You know, it's because some people just don't want to accept the fact that you're bound to be great no matter what. They don't want to hear it because it's truth. Nobody should ever feel offended by truth, especially if it's good truth. You know, sometimes you need to hear that tough love aspect of things. Keep encouraging yourself. You want great, figure out your course of plans. No matter what it is you're trying to build as far as your legacy and your destiny, again, you don't allow anything to let it crumble. The best offense in life is having a strong defense. So you got to defend your mind from all the negativity. And you got to have a careful offense too while you're doing so. Can't have one without the other. I feel that's what really wins a championship. Not so much as just sports, but that's a key component for winning in life. Got to have a good offense, and you got to definitely have a strong defense. But you have to stay locked in and focused. Never focus on the negative. Because once you start focusing on it, it'll take you out of that good element that you was already building. If you was already rebuilding your confidence, you don't let the negative destroy it. If you're in a good mind space, keep yourself there. Find different ways to keep yourself there at all times. But just in case you think that time is over, or if you think you don't have nothing left to do, get out of that. Get out of that mind space because you're still here. You still have work to do. And like I said, until that creator calls you home, you still got all the time in the world to make different changes in your life. Again, you gotta want it. And just know that regardless to what, you will always have some form of support, you know. But in case anybody else want to chime in, y'all know what time it is. BMF, you starting with your madness already. James, lock the door. Serious, get that skateboard and make sure you hit this one, this kneecap. I want my winning numbers. I ain't gonna be playing with you tonight, son. The fruits of your labor is gonna come from the works that you do. I do believe that. No matter what work you're doing, as long as it's beneficial and it's conducive to what you need to do, you will see as time goes that all your good works wasn't done for nothing. Prime example for those who are helping out kids, especially those in outreaches, etc., etc. Keep doing what you're doing. You'll see the fruits of that labor when it's all said and done. Remember, it's not always just about money. It's just about doing what's necessary and keeping the necessary bounds in your life. Keep creating, keep striving, and keep growing. Once you have that spiritual and that mental growth, you on a solid level to continuous building. And don't let nothing stop that. But again, it just goes to show I believe in some of the things I've spoken about tonight. It kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying before. The violent crimes did spike down from the 90s until up till recent. So yes, even though we were still having crimes, it wasn't as high as we thought it was. But again, when the communities learn to be strong and come together and eliminate the aspects that really are tearing down and damaging the communities, you see a change in it. You know, you work together to do what's necessary. You can also work together to try to help each other build. We might not want to build the same things, But if it's something that's going to be on a positive upstep for the future generations, then we should still be able to get behind each other on that notion. But yeah, best way to keep everything under wraps, again, just see what's going on in your communities. Stand and fight on the things that you need to stand and fight on. It's about the safety more than anything. We know that there's always going to be some form of danger in life, but you should have a safe mindset to just, again, be aware of your surroundings and keep certain things that are precious, keep it protected. But nobody else want to pop up for the convo. Ain't gonna hold y'all all night. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna definitely revisit this conversation. Oh, the conversation I was also going to bring up. I might just bring that up tomorrow. Um, and again, I'm gonna call it down the middle. For some things, you just have to. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely bring that conversation most likely tomorrow afternoon. For those celebrating birthdays, they already know what time it is. Yeah, we know it's Taurus season, so hopefully all my Tauruses out there are doing their thing. Don't worry. Keep creating, keep enjoying life. Try to make the best out of everything. Again, take the necessary steps to keep creating. Real spill, baby. You already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. And if y'all new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, we definitely gonna have this talk again. Actually, I just want to wrap up one thing I was talking about, and I kind of started speaking on it. Um, for some of the fellas out there, especially those again in the public eye, and I mean those high names. Not saying that you shouldn't enjoy your life and try to live it the best way possible, but also remember to keep certain things under wraps, keep certain things private. Ladies, there are some things that just should never be accepted. Again, be safe all around the board. Be safe. Again, making sure that if you're gonna deal with somebody, just make sure that they got their head on right. Make sure that they mental and they spiritual meet yours as far as the strength and the durability. Miss you too, sis. You already know what it is. Most important thing again is just safety more than anything. When you learn to create a safe balance, when you learn to keep yourself safe around the board, you'll rest better. You'll definitely feel better. But yeah, there are some things that again have to remember that. There are some things that again you just are gonna have to be wise on. And even if you have made a mistake, you learn from that mistake and you move on. Like I said before, be careful of what you place around you and who you place around you. Marlene, baby. You know, when you keep the positive mindset around you and you keep the positive people around you, you start to see a change. You know, but what's the best steps in your life? Nobody knows the best steps for your life except for you. So again, for some of you fellas and some of you ladies out there in the public eye, be careful of who you place around you. And make sure that there is a comfortability in a space to where you don't feel like something could be used or weaponized against you. Again, making sure that somebody's mental space and a spiritual space is on the same level. And when you spot certain red flags on things, hey, you know what to do from there. Don't string along people if you're not willing to be committed. And then some of y'all who are messing yourselves up because of that. Again, if you feel like this person is not your cup of tea, then hey, just keep it moving. But be real with them and be honest. Most people respect honesty more than bullshit. The goal is with every message that do come through, think for yourself. Don't allow anything else to think for you. You have to make a clear decision on how you shape your life, where you decide to take yourself, and how you decide to build as far as the rest of your life is concerned. But don't throw away certain aspects of life trying to chase something. Again, instead of chasing the dream, you need to chase reality. You put the work and the effort in. You build what you can build. You take your necessary steps in life, and again, you'll see the fruits of your labor. Something that you can't forget, though, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Something that you can't forget. It's not so much as forgetting where you can't forget where you come from. Nobody can. You never forget where you come from. If anything, you remember where you came from and how you elevated from that stage. If you want to elevate in life, better take the necessary calculated steps. Whatever you feel is going to be beneficial and constructive to your life, you add it to it. But again, balance your life out. You can't take everything too seriously. You got to learn to adjust sometimes and just let loose, have fun. But make sure you're having fun the right way. Make sure you have the right type of energy and space to do so. Again, the only person that knows the best steps for your life is yourself. So if you're following certain things and you stand on that path, continue to do so. Never let nobody knock you off your trajectory or your course in building in life. Solid mind, you'll have solid options and solid choices. When you make solid decisions, you officially there. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely revisit this conversation. And I appreciate everybody that has been a part of the build, still becoming a part of the build, and yes, you still having these talks. You know, like I said earlier, the key goal is for people to start thinking for themselves. Sometimes these conversations do help. You never know who's going through something in life. Something you said or something that you brought forward might actually inspire and change somebody's life. And I feel like I'm doing the most important thing by trying to bring these talks. I know sometimes I could be brash, I could sound like I'm on demon time, but I'm passionate about the things I believe in. And I'm also passionate about the things that I know can change. And even if these talks do help to bring in some of that change, again, proud to be a part of it. And tomorrow, I'm definitely going to bring the conversation back to something else. Again, some of you men and women out there have to learn to be safe. And I mean, in your choices and who you decide to date, and be safe, you know, all around the board. If you don't want to make certain mistakes, or if you don't want to end up being in that position, again, perfect calculation of life. You incorporate what's good and what's beneficial to you. If it's not doing anything for you, don't do it. If it's not giving you any form of growth, move away from it. In order to be in the best place in your life, you got to know what you need to place in your life. And I'm gonna definitely revisit this convo, but do have one thing to add to this though. And I know. Again, y'all birthday babies. I didn't forget about y'all. Did not forget about y'all. Get your dance on. For those who are on the training, the journey as far as weight loss or weight gain or whatever it is you're trying to do, motivation for real though. The motivation will always be keep pushing yourself. Don't stop. Keep pushing, keep grinding. Always remember that guess what? You're moving towards something great. But if that don't motivate you, hopefully this does. Hopefully this
Holla at
does.
me when they sober on parole. I'm a felon. You think I ain't got that blower? Yeah, you right, bro. Take his head off his fucking shoulder. You hear me? Hit the rollie stove with the rollie on. What was our getaway car? Jag portfolio. You hear me? Hey, I heard I had some sneak dissers. Whoever feeling hot, that AR got a heat sensor. Cuz said don't entertain them hungry niggas. I wish I would pay it.
Keep motivating yourself to build yourself stronger, more connected, but know yourself. Know your worth. Know what you're willing to accept. Know what you're not willing to accept. Then again, if it's not conducive to your life, just get rid of it. And I didn't forget about y'all.
Crackers holla at me when they sober on parole. I'm a felon. You think I ain't got that blower? Yeah, you right, bro. Take his head off his fucking shoulder. You hear me? Hit the rollie stove with the rollie on. What was our getaway car? Jag portfolio. You hear me? Hey, I heard I had some sneak dissers. Whoever feeling hot, that AR got a heat sensor. Cuz said don't entertain them hungry niggas. I wish I would pay attention to these homeless niggas. Go call my phone.
Oh, and I forgot. Somebody is getting clipped. I know the clip guard's still in here, so clip this, dude. Oh man, shouts to everybody that really been a part of this growth, man. And shouts to everybody that's really been a support. Now I feel that good. I should dance for y'all right now. Yeah, don't worry. But hopefully y'all enjoy the rest of your evenings. And again, I'll be back tomorrow. Could be an afternoon Cypher. You already know what time it is. For those following me on Clapper, I know I've been kind of MIA, but believe me, it's been a rough couple weeks. But most likely, I'll probably be trying to pop up Friday night for some good vibes, good conversation as always, you know. But yeah, before I do get up out of here, hold on one second. I did not forget about y'all. Did not forget about y'all. I know he's still somewhere in the cut chilling. So yeah. Oh yeah, Marlene, I ain't forget about you.
I don't wanna go to work. I don't wanna wait tomorrow. I just ain't tryna go to work. I don't wanna wait tomorrow. I don't wanna go to work. I don't wanna wait tomorrow.
And James, get your nephew off the grill. Not again. Not again, no. Yeah. Let me get myself up out of here. Oh, wait a minute. I did owe one more thing.
Second bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it. Turn this TV off, turn this TV off.
Yeah, let me get my ass up out of here though. It's time for me to start adulting again. I dropped the reminder tomorrow for the live stream. Shoot, if not, it could be another night stream. So been trying to get things done during the day, and you know. But in all though, wait a minute, serious. You can't say good night. Wait a minute. We need you to dance real quick. Hold on. And you know I ain't making no sense today, but I'm gonna make sense today. Yeah. You know me. Gotta be on my bullshit. Yeah, man. BMF been past your curfew, son. Come on, son. Come on, son. But yeah, give you one more if I get up out of here and you see how I'm gonna close my eyes on this one.
I'm rubbing a butt like baby girl. I wanna fuck like get G on 2-step in a box. Get G.
Yeah, that's gonna be the vacation dance at some point. Don't worry. Vacation time coming up soon. So yes, embrace all the madness. James, see, that's messed up, son. See, it's messed up. I thought he was cool. See, it's all right. It is all right though.
I rock like pebble, jump through your sheet. You hear this beat? Coming like heavy metal. If you got a business, bro, please say.
Man, let me get my ass up out of here. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout outs to the replay game. Shout outs to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. For everybody that was in attendance tonight, y'all already know that love is love and they'll be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I can do is give you real. That's all I'm gonna do is give you real topics and real builds. Oh yeah, serious. How you gonna take my device when you got baby Pablo? How you gonna take my advice when you know you got one of these two faces? That's the victory dance for when they bring me back my device. But you know, let me get my ass up out of here. And again, at some point, you know what? I think I'm gonna do it next month, y'all. The first annual.
Mom, I just won an Oscar.
Yeah, I think I'm doing this next month. Don't worry. I'm gonna try to upload everything. I mean everything. And we're gonna make a night out of it. But yeah, you know, hopefully y'all will enjoy the rest of your evenings. Y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. Until the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings. Let me leave y'all out of here with some good music vibes. So hold on one second. Hold on one second. I got you.